Johnson, sit your ass down.
Don't waste the data.
Holy shit, bottles.
Boy, it's like corralling cats around here. All right, guys, welcome to the second episode of Life Short, Live Free.
Is this my beer?
I'm your host, Sam. I'm with three knuckleheads here, Toad, Box, and Johnson. This is sponsored by Shyworks. We do Cerakote and make some pretty awesome wallets. Check us out. But yeah, so today we went out and did some shooting, and well, I won 2 out of the last 3, or 2 out of 3, but somehow I got 3rd place, which doesn't make any freaking sense to me. But so how?
I don't think you won 2 out of 3.
I absolutely 100% did win 2 out of 3, but apparently, Box somehow, whatever, won. I still,
Come on.
I still don't completely agree with that whole assessment, but.
Kicked ass and you know it.
You did pretty good on the last round. You pretty much spanked us on the last round.
It helps that you're, for one, considerably smaller than the rest of us, weight-wise.
How does that help?
He's faster.
We only ran like 10 feet.
I saw.
We actually ran
Did you see
less
me and
this
Johnson
week.
trying to run?
Did you see me running back and forth to the house? I am like a gazelle.
Yeah, and you came back from the house with a burrito.
You know, Johnson.
You came back from the house with a burrito in your hand and a Red Bull.
Burned too many calories sprinting.
Johnson, if you did less sprinting up to the house, you might have done better in the whole competition. But
I don't know. I beat you. So.
I don't know how because whatever.
Okay, so
anyways,
I think what it comes down to on that, you won 2 out of 3, right? But on the very last one, you were like 2 whole seconds slower.
I was pretty
so
slow
that
on
makes
the transition.
That makes up a big difference.
So anyways, Johnson, he ended up getting 2nd place.
Yeah.
But for some reason, we still designated him the loser because he performed so horrible in some of the other stages.
Most of the other stages.
Yeah.
So we're
I
just
mean,
gonna make him.
Yeah.
He's cooking supper, and
He did have a 25-second run.
Yeah.
I got a little excited and I just emptied magazines. I couldn't control myself. I was just so darn happy. It was sunny out and there was a break in the rain. I just got really excited. And
so he's also sitting in the designated beer bitch spot. So
yep.
You'll see him getting up every now and then. One thing we talked about doing before was Whiskey of the Week. Yep. Toad provided the whiskey this time. What'd you get?
I got a 15-year-old bottle of Dalwhinnie Highland Scotch. I ran into this 2-3 years ago when I was in the Highlands in Scotland. Got a bottle, enjoyed it. I've actually opened this one. I'm drinking some right now, but now you guys get to try it.
So what is that? Is that a bourbon or what is that?
It's a single malt Scotch whiskey.
So it's terrible. Awesome.
I've seen you drink some pretty horrible whiskeys before.
So hopefully this is not bad, but a couple years ago I decided, I was watching, I think it was like How I Met Your Mother or something like that, and Barney or whatever was drinking. He's always drinking the Scotch. It's like, you know what? That's pretty freaking cool. I think I'm gonna go try me some. So I go down to the local bar here, Dusky's. I says, give me your Scotch, and the only thing they had was like, I think it was Johnny Walker Red or some crap like that.
I think I was there that night.
That was the one time because it tasted like somebody put some just terrible cheap whiskey and put out a cigar 3 or 4 times in it
and filtered it through a dirty gym sock.
Yeah, so it's like so I don't do that anymore. But we're gonna try this stuff and hopefully it's fairly decent. As far as the audio quality goes this time, guys, the first one wasn't the best. Hopefully this the second one goes a little bit better. We did some.
Why were you so excited by the noise of that?
We did some changing around on stuff.
Stoned because we're laughing so hard.
This is some fairly expensive whiskey, so you're gonna drink that whole thing you just poured, even if you don't like it.
Yeah, good lord, man.
Yeah,
like
I did get
the most of us pour like just a little measure in the bottom, and Sam's like half a glass.
I did get a little excessive there. What's this stuff called?
Dalwhinnie.
Dalwhinnie. Where's it from?
Scotland.
Highlands of Scotland.
Made in the Scottish Highlands.
And I don't drink whiskey.
Actually, it's not bad. The taste is it's a really good taste.
It's smooth, is what it is.
Yeah, you got that burn. Clear your sinuses
There's
out a
chunks
little
in
bit.
mine.
But
That is the that's the cork when we were jacking around with it.
is there legitimately chunks in there?
It's a piece of cork.
Mine's chunky.
Here
Chew mine.
we're trying to be
going
all
well.
classy and drink some scotch and boxes of
Cork in my
chunky,
whiskey.
chunky whiskey.
Nothing but the best.
And I'm sorry about this hitting on the table here. That kind of resonates through our mics. But this, and we didn't talk about this last time. This here
Not
is
bad.
a chunk of history.
Not bad.
So I was looking for something to use for the podcast here.
Looks and smells like
And
dirt.
my mom actually had this made. Well, her
If
brother
your urine
made this.
smells like that, Jonathan, you have problems.
I'm trying to tell the feed bunk story, guys. So
Sorry, bud.
my uncle made this for my mom like 35 years ago, and it's been sitting up in the shop, and we figured it'd be perfect for this. But anyway, it's called the feed bunk because it looks similar to a feed bunk. So when you guys hear us refer to the feed bunk or whatever, this is what we're talking about. But yeah, I dig it, and it's kind of cool to have some something with history in here. So, anyways, what's your guys' take on the whiskey? Pretty decent, or?
It is smooth. He wasn't
It's
wrong.
smooth, yeah.
I don't know if it's $85 smooth, but
It's like
it's okay.
it's like 70.
Regardless, it's pretty decent.
Anyway, it's
I think it's
definitely
pretty good,
it's better than drinking like a BV straight.
It's
or
yeah, it's
something.
a whiskey you could sip, like that's what it is. It's a sipping whiskey.
I did do a
that
little,
much is true.
I did get a
I
little
mean-
aggressive on that pour there, though.
Yeah, you did.
And I don't drink whiskey for specific reasons. We'll just say that. I quit drinking whiskey probably 4 or 5 years ago,
That one wasn't so
and
smooth.
I'm glad I did, but I don't mind like having a little taste here and there. I can't just.
Right. Well, if you start getting a little bit mutsy, we'll just
Yeah,
Johnson
Yeah.
knock it off.
yeah. I'll be having this little sip, and that'll be about it. But
So
no,
yeah,
it's good. I definitely like it. I mean, it's like you said with Johnny Walker. Like I've had that before, and oh boy, that is gnarly stuff.
yeah.
I bought another kind of whiskey when I was over there. It was called we were on the Isle of Skye, and we went to the Talisker distillery, and it was called Talisker Storm. And I'm thinking that's a badass name for a whiskey. Well, they fire their boilers and whatnot over there with peat, which is just like decayed plant matter.
Yeah,
And that is exactly what the whiskey tasted like.
gross.
It was horrible. Like,
Moss whiskey.
yeah, it was bad. I think I still have most of that bottle somewhere, but
You
So,
had to bring that one.
One thing we were going to talk about this last podcast, but we never got around to it. It must have slipped my mind. But we were talking about obviously most of you, well, all of you, obviously have seen this or on Facebook. So we're going to talk about Facebook trolls and how much.
Duff.
Yeah, definitely. But how much even in the last few years, it just seems like it's gotten horrible. Like specifically, we're talking about the Facebook gun groups.
Yeah.
It seems, and especially seems like the last year, it just got terrible. So I was having this conversation, we were talking about red dots on a pistol, actually. And the conversation came to which red dot is the best. Well, obviously, there is a pretty clear winner in that situation. Trijicon RMR, that's kind of the standard, but it's not cheap. It's rather expensive. So the conversation came up to that, and one guy says, well, that's the only option. And I says, well, for a range gun, it's not. Why would I spend twice the money when I can get a Vortex Phenom for $200? And his only response was, well, you're poor. Okay, what does that have to do with anything? I could afford an RMR.
So what if you are poor?
Yeah, I mean, and that's got to be a big thing lately in the gun groups too. These freaking people just bashing on other people, calling them poor because their gun isn't quite up to snuff. Well, if that's all they can afford, good on them, and I congratulate them for having that gun. And it's just getting out of hand. So, anyways, I came up with the way, and this is Facebook wide. This will fix the problem of trolls on Facebook. So once
Facebook, if you're listening,
yeah,
figure out
They
listen
probably
up,
are.
listen
They
up,
probably
listen up,
Duff,
because this
Duff
is,
Allen specifically.
yeah, this is a killer idea here. But so you have maybe two challenges per month. And if there's some douche nozzle that's just running his mouth and being a complete moron, you can hit the challenge button. And that challenge, you got to go and meet that fella somewhere. And you guys work out your problems, and that's that. You're not going to have any more
have
issues.
A face-to-face talk.
Exactly. And so
being a
once
tough
you
guy.
hit that challenge, and if he does not comply, and he just sissies out or whatever, doesn't show up, well, okay, that's fine, but he gets a freaking troll rating. So if this guy's got like a troll rating of 10,000 and he's just being a general dumbass, well, you can just ignore him and you know that he's a freaking Susan. But if a guy, has a troll rating of 0 and he's talking smack to you, well, there you go. I mean, so anyways, I think that would fix the problem because there's no consequences right now on Facebook. There's no consequences for acting like a jackass.
You might be like instigating murder quite a bit of the time with that idea, though.
Well, no. Well, you could have designated areas like in every state. You could, right, like UFC octagons, UFC octagons or something. So you'd have a ref, and you could just beat the living crap out of each other, and that would. I'm saying that would fix the problem anyway.
I feel though I usually see scroll through Facebook and you'll see something it'll say Sam Shire comment on this, and I'm like, cool, this is gonna be good. I feel like you would get challenged a lot. You would have a permanent black eye.
You couldn't have a full-time job because all you would do is meet these people all day long.
No, but I don't troll on Facebook. I don't just say stuff to be a general dumbass. At least like what I'm saying and I believe in, and I'm not just doing it to freaking instigate and be a jackass.
Duff.
Right.
Yeah. So, anyways, I thought that was a great idea. It would definitely take care of our little troll problem on Facebook, anyways. But you guys don't seem as thrilled about it as it is.
I think it's a fantastic idea. Aside from the whole murdering thing.
Well,
you're the one that mentioned murder.
Well, then you could just you could just add another rating to everybody, murderer.
You wouldn't really have to worry about that person trolling
died
or
in
getting
octagon
trolled because they'd be in prison. So
that
really fixes.
This guy's got a murder rating of 14. I think I'm just gonna keep my mouth shut on this one.
Murder rating of 14. Yeah. Watch out for that guy.
Holy shit, he's got the high score.
Yeah. So okay. The idea may take some tweaking, but Facebook, look into it. You guys have been doing a lot of new options in the past few years, so this is one you might want to think about.
Yep.
Just my 2 cents, and I would call me up, ask me about it. Mark Zuckerberg.
Maybe this is something we should integrate into the Facebook group, though. Once it gets larger.
If you kind
I'm
of
not sure.
challenge.
Not exactly. Yeah. So we actually have shooting challenges. In our Facebook
are you
group.
talking?
If somebody's bashing how terrible we all obviously are.
You
talking about meet on high noon? Yeah. Turn 20 paces. Everybody gets one shot. Do we use old cap and ball percussion pistols?
I suppose we could.
Yeah, we could do something.
I'm not sure how.
Well,
but just an idea.
The other
There's
thing
a
is
gnat flying in here that is going to consume 100% of my attention until it dies.
So anyway, the group
Johnson.
that he's talking about is our Facebook group, Life Short Live Free. We talk about basically that's where the podcast came from. So anything we talk about on here: whiskey, guns, cars, hunting, women, whatever.
Hunting women?
You just
There was a comment there.
Oh.
Kids, punctuation is important.
You just laid out the
Remember
plot
that.
to a country song.
Punctuation will save lives.
That's right. But anyway, that's a group that we don't put up with any bullshit in. I mean, it's.
You make us sound like a bunch of hard asses in there.
No, not
we
in
don't
any way.
deal with
Not in any way.
We don't deal with douchebags.
Yes, the first 2 rules similar to Fight Club. I'm talking about.
Don't be an asshat.
Don't be a douchebag is rule number 1. Rule number 2: don't be a douchebag.
Yep.
It's that important. So anyway, if you're looking for a good group to join, go and check that out. It's a pretty good group of guys in there right now. It's fairly small, but we're growing, and it's always a good time in there. So go and check that out.
And one argument that I know last week you two got into a little bit face to face. This wouldn't even need to be challenged.
Maybe we should challenge it though.
What?
The next
cross
You're
body.
insisting on carrying your mag on your strong side.
Okay, so what they're talking about is last time we were shooting out there, I was carrying my mag.
Less smooth.
I was carrying my mag in this little pocket right
in
here.
your pocket watch pocket.
Well, whatever it is. So it fits perfect. It'll fit a double stack mag. A lot of times I'll carry it like I carry a Glock 43. A lot of times I'll just shove that mag in there. It works awesome. And of course, I know it's not the quickest method to reload, but it's there if I have it. You know, if I need it, I have it at least. It's better than not freaking having it. So box, of course, being box. Well, that's dumb. You're not as quick doing it that way. I realize that. Obviously, your what did they call it? Weak side.
Yes.
It's better to carry it on your weak side. But my reasoning behind this is it's freaking there. It's not in the way. I don't like having extra shit on my belt. It drives me nuts having. If you're carrying a gun anyways, it's already, I just don't like having extra stuff on my belt. As far as a mag pouch over here or whatever. So what we got to talking about was the likelihood of needing to actually to reload
In a concealed carry situation.
In a concealed carry situation, and I pulled up the average number of rounds fired in a deadly encounter is between 2 and 4.
So 3.
That doesn't sound right to me.
Where
do those stats come from?
This is
That doesn't sound right
this
at
is
all.
just an article that I brought up from Shooting Illustrated. I can't even say that word. I never can say this
Statistics?
word. Statistics. It's like, what was the one last month?
Last week was, or 2 weeks ago?
I
Yeah.
don't remember.
That was a doozy too.
That was proprietary.
Yeah.
Proprietary. Yeah, that one was a doozy.
Proprietary.
But anyway, it's a well-known fact that there's not that many. Say if you do need your gun in a self-defense shooting, you're not going to have to use that many rounds typically. Are there instances? Absolutely. I'm definitely not saying that there's not, and I'm not bashing on you at all if you feel like carrying an extra mag. That's perfectly fine, and like I said, sometimes I do. But it's just right there because that's the simplest and easiest way for me to carry.
You don't have to have extra gear to hold. Your standard holsters. I mean, you can get holsters, especially like appendix carry holsters that accommodate a second magazine, right? But if you already have a holster and you're used to just carrying a holster for your pistol,
right?
You'd have that on virtually every pair of pants that you wear.
Right.
It's not another piece of gear that you have to buy another thing hanging on your belt, like you said.
See, now, we had a similar conversation. You might not remember. It's been a couple of years. I solved that problem.
What problem?
The needing an extra mag when you're carrying a Glock problem. Just carry a 1911 45 and you won't have that problem, Sam.
See, that's a whole nother discussion.
No, we're not
We're
going
going
there. We're not going to.
That's not. I wasn't actually trying to just start a discussion. It's just it's a jibe at Sam.
Yeah, he likes to give me, because I'm a self-admitted Glock fanboy. I don't care, make fun of me.
I don't mind him myself. It's just fun to give Sam grief.
But Toad is a 1911 guy, and he just loves them to death. But
And you better hope you don't need a lot of rounds because you only got 7 to work with instead
right.
of
Well,
15.
the other part carrying a 1911 is you can just use it like a freaking hammer if you run out of ammo.
Right.
Or
I mean,
when
I
it
just don't want-
inevitably jams.
One thing that I did here, I saw like I don't know if it was Couillon Noir or who it was, but like the types of people who carry what ammo,
Right.
Whether it's 389, 40 or 45. And one of the funny things that I heard, like one of the funny anecdotes I heard, for 9 versus 45 was, well, 9 expands. And then I heard the response to that was, well, 45 doesn't shrink. So
I mean, it's got a valid point.
there's
It
a
doesn't.
point there. It doesn't shrink. It's still a 45 caliber
It's a
hole.
Big damn bullet.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that argument, we won't get into it too deep, but 9 versus 45. In the last several years, there's been so many advancements in ballistics technology.
Words are hard.
Why am
Bullet,
I
I mean,
the
just-
host? I can't even speak. It seems like.
Not even so much ballistics as well, terminal ballistics maybe, but like bullet design.
Well, that's what I mean. Yeah.
And carry ammo. You know, I mean, with the 9mm has improved a ton over the last 10 years with concealed carry ammo,
Absolutely.
and I think 45 has as well. But you know, I think with the velocity that 9mm is moving, you know, you get a good. With the new bullet designs, you're getting a good expansion. You're getting
Right.
a good.
Speaking of new
Right.
bullet designs, one of the most gimmicky rounds I think I've seen in the last 5 years is that
Pretty sure
rip out.
Yep.
Oh,
That RIP
Knew where that
ammo.
was going.
There's no way I would ever, let alone pay the $35 for 20 bullets. But there's no way I would ever carry that.
have you seen how many issues they have? Like
It's
not
terrible.
feeding.
Yeah. Well, look at it.
I know.
It's
Like
just
a bunch of
of
razor blades
Yes.
sticking out in random directions. That'll
How
feed
does
up
that
the
feed?
barrel ram.
No,
and when it runs forward into the barrel ramp, you know those bend. I mean, they have to.
Well, have you seen the ballistics gel on them?
Yeah. Oh, it'd tear you. It
Well,
would tear
it's
you
not.
up.
It's not as effective as you would actually think.
I know those tiny
How many-
Because those
things,
little
like a lot
tines
of
just kind of
tiny
go
little
out
things.
and yes, I mean you're getting shot by 9mm. It's still gonna freaking.
How many
screw you up.
grains are those, though?
Like 124s, I think.
I think they keep them pretty standard
Yeah.
Really?
weight. I
I would have
think
thought
they're-
they'd be a whole lot lighter.
I don't think they're a whole lot lighter.
Yeah, but you definitely see those. Every now and then they pop up again all over the Facebook group. Hey, have you guys seen this? Yeah. Well, I did. Yeah, 2 years ago I saw it. You're a little behind the times, but
Yeah.
that's all right. You know.
Yeah.
I still see people every now and then though post in a gun group. They're like,
Mhm.
"Oh, this is my favorite carry round." I'm like, why? Have you ever shot it or done any sort of testing on it or looked into it at all?
Like
You're just
there's-
buying it because it looks cool.
Well,
Right.
2 or 3 years ago, that was gun channels on YouTube.
Mhm.
Everybody had a ballistics gel test of that RIP ammo.
Yeah.
Well, there's
So it's not hard to go do some research before you buy carry ammo and just look and see how many problems that stuff.
Well, there's
has.
another one too that I read a bunch because I thought it looked interesting and I was kind of interested in getting some. And you guys have probably seen it. It's that 12 gauge round from Oath Ammo. It's that big old school copper like.
Oh,
they're-
and it's got fingers.
And it's
Yeah.
got like 4 and it's supposed to expand to like a 2-inch diameter. I watched a video on that. They're like, I forget what they are. They're like freaking $10 a round or something like that.
Oh.
They're super expensive. It's got this like nickel ball in the middle and it's supposed to expand. And like the first like 7 the guy tried never even fired.
Neat.
Yeah.
Good self-defense ammo, definitely.
Is
Definitely.
that like a Fledermaus deal? He always has cool shotgun shells.
I don't know.
Is that the one he just loads them with just random shit?
Well, Demolition Ranch did that at the beginning, the custom shotgun shells, but YouTube shut him down on that deal.
Oh,
Because that's manufacturing ammo, which you can't
No,
do
yeah.
now on
right.
YouTube or whatever. But
Yeah.
Fledermaus did some. He had guys like machining Sabo rounds and all kinds of cool stuff, like basically the shape of a thumbtack, only
Right.
out of steel. He'd like turn them out of steel and shoot them.
Right.
It was pretty cool, but I don't know. I think they've kind of shut those guys down on YouTube pretty hard on
Yeah,
custom shells and.
they kind of went full Nazi on everything. What was it, like 6 months ago? You can't show. They said that you can't show how to put guns together and all sorts of
Yeah, and
ridiculous
I've
stuff.
seen.
But I still.
Yeah, I've still seen a lot of that stuff around.
Yeah, they haven't cracked down on it like super hard. I don't think because they haven't been deleting videos too much anyways.
No,
because
and
I
I
can
don't
still
know-
find most of the stuff that I'm wanting
I
to
don't know
find
what
on
they've
there.
done as far as like channel strikes on that stuff either.
I don't know.
Because I
don't
know at some point they were like giving channel strikes even for like really old videos. There
Right.
was no like grandfathered in on that stuff.
Well, that's just freaking. If you put it up while the policies were in place that said, hey, this is completely fine. Why would they? How could they possibly? I mean, that's just outrageous.
I don't know, but
And these alternatives to YouTube there was a few of them, Gunstreamer and Huge Tube and
Full 30.
Yeah,
Full
it doesn't
30's, I
seem
think,
like.
about the most prominent one now.
Is it? See, I haven't paid
As
too
far
much
as-
attention. How have those been taken off?
Honestly, I haven't noticed a huge change in the gun channels on YouTube. You know what I mean? Like, I haven't
Right.
noticed. Like, I watch Johnny's Reloading Bench all
Yeah.
the time, and that's like him hand loading stuff and test firing for groups and telling you what his charges are, what brass he's using, what primer he's using.
Really?
Yeah, and I mean, it's just a full reloading channel. That's what he does is, okay, I got this barrel for my AR-10. I'm going to load these 308 rounds. I'm going to use these powders with these bullets, this brass, this primer,
Yeah.
with these charge weights, and I'm going to go shoot them and
And
see
he's
what
getting
my
away
group
with it,
sizes
huh?
are. Yeah, and I mean, I don't think he's a huge channel, but he's not a small channel. It's not like he has 35 subscribers, So.
Who was that one? It was Utah Gun Exchange. Huge tube, I think they called it.
Yeah.
But he was traveling the country following that March for Your Lives
Yeah.
ridiculousness that these kids were doing. Which I was thinking good for him, but then didn't he get freaking busted with a bunch of shit a while back?
Yeah, maybe.
He went to he got hammered pretty hard on someone. I don't remember exactly what he did. I think it was
same with FPS Russia. You remember how
what happened to him
FPS
anyways?
Russia was?
Because he was massive.
Oh, he was the biggest gun channel on YouTube 7-8 years ago. He was
Right.
the biggest out there. He was from Georgia. He's some guy from Georgia.
Definitely not Russia.
Not.
Yeah, his real name was Kyle.
Yeah, and he got in trouble for some like Class 3 firearms that he got in trouble for like some stuff that he should have known better on.
I thought there was something weird that went on too, like
His like manager
camera guy
got the guy that got him all the guns. They found him tied up to a chair and like tortured and murdered.
Yeah.
And
this got dark.
Yeah, he got tied up in some crazy stuff.
Yeah,
he got in some trouble for.
Like I saw a video actually where that guy's dad was like he was like 100% certain that FPS Russia was the one that had killed him, and there was like he was under investigation for like a couple of years, and then he put out a video saying he was coming back and they were gonna do all this new stuff, and then it never happened, and then he got raided by the ATF like 3 times.
You see that video? I'm sure you did. That video of him where he's blowing up the truck and he about got smoked by the door.
and he just stands there like nothing's happening.
Yeah.
That's a lot like that one. They shot a fridge, and the guy was standing behind a tree, and the door came up, and I think it hit the tree that he was standing behind.
Well,
Yeah, and there's a guy that did the lawnmower and the blade cut his leg off.
Oh boy!
it wasn't the blade; it was like the part of the mower itself. But
It was like a chunk of the deck or something.
I witnessed firsthand a refrigerator, or not a refrigerator door, but like it was a microwave door.
Oh, I think both of you did.
About whack somebody.
Yeah. Oh
So-
my!
Yeah,
Careful, buddy.
Tannerite is it's definitely fun. But
Violated by that chair.
it's definitely fun. But the number one thing that you want to be
I got some over here, but
safety.
thanks.
I mean, there's a lot of times when you blow something up,
At least
you
they
think,
can
oh
open dinner
heck,
for sure.
I'm plenty far enough away. Well, typically, if you think you're far enough away, you should probably go another 50 to 100 yards. Just
Yeah.
saying.
So like when we did the You Betcha shoot,
Hell, we were what, a couple hundred yards away.
we were probably, I would guess, 160 yards
Yeah.
from that freezer. And when Tony was taking care of the charges, I was a little concerned. I thought maybe we should put it on the other side of the creek. Because
That
when
wouldn't have been a
Tony's
bad
in
idea.
charge of the explosives, it's not a good situation.
Why would you
generally.
put Tony in charge of anything?
They were
Because
He
Tony's
kinda
explosives.
took that responsibility.
Well,
on
to be
himself.
fair, it was my fault. I called him and asked him to do it because he he likes playing around with explosives. Let's be honest, and he's good at it ish.
We'll call it well versed.
he's well versed in explosives.
I don't
He's a-
think we'll say good at it necessarily.
We're
Yeah.
actually planning on having him on this podcast every now and then. You guys will probably like him. He's interesting.
He's definitely a character.
Good job, Toad.
Hey Johnson, do you want the gnat?
No, kill that darn thing. Golly. And drive me nuts.
There he is.
Oh, let's see. What do we got? What else do we got on the list we want to talk about? Oh yeah, the zombie apocalypse shows. So I was wondering the other day why those are so popular. I mean, and it's just now they're starting to die down a little bit, I think. But in the last 5 years, they're freaking huge. You know, you had Walking Dead, and which got horrible after season 5, and I stopped watching. But then you had Z Nation. I don't know if you guys seen that on Netflix. That's the best one that I've watched so far. And then there's dozens
Countless
of movies and
yeah.
series, lesser known series, and all sorts
there
of
was,
things.
Like 28 days later, 28 weeks later, they had a sequel on that.
Right.
There was
The Resident Evil movies.
Yeah. What was the one with shoot? Remember Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift?
Nope. Yeah.
The young kid out of that, like the main character in that.
That was Legion.
Was it?
Yeah, where it was like angels possess people and they turn into like zombies. Yeah. I just saw that.
So anyway, they're massively popular. But I got to wondering why, and it occurred to me that it's just people love freedom, and I think the ultimate freedom is when something like that happens. It's like laws don't apply. You can do whatever the hell you want. You know, you can get your full autos and you got no consequences, and you can do whatever you want.
Right.
You know, and that's, I think, the main reason why people love watching that stuff is it just immerses them into that, and they, you know, for a little bit, not experience it, but you know, but I think people are drawn to that freedom, but freedom is freaking scary. And
absolute freedom.
Absolute freedom is scary, and
I think for the average populace, it would be scary.
Yes, yeah, but that's why I'm saying the average person, they love to watch it on TV. They don't like to experience it, and that's we're gonna get deep here for a second. But as far as like say like this, as far as like this country goes, there's a balance between, yes, we give away some of our freedom for protection as far as, you know, the government goes, but I'm a conservative. I want small government. I don't want you messing up my life. I think the main thing the government needs to do is protect our freaking borders, make it safe for us, and let us freaking live our lives. You know, I don't want you freaking doing all this freaking healthcare and all this other stuff, you know, making sure that
we don't need micromanagement.
Exactly. Let me freaking live my life. But the thing is that's freaking scary. That's freaking scary, and people can't they don't like taking responsibility for their own lives. So they want the government to freaking protect them.
That's becoming more and more popular as somebody wants someone to take care of them. Even adults.
Right.
It's like, I don't want to be an adult. I don't want to have to worry about healthcare or, you know, having a job or paying for my food.
Right.
So I just think the government should do it. So that's why it's becoming more and more evident that that's where our government is heading, is trying to take care of everyone. Yeah, because that's what, in large cities, people don't know how to fend for themselves, and they don't want to fend for themselves. They don't even want to work for themselves.
Right.
So they, you know, they just want somebody to take care of them.
Right.
So that's, and going back to the zombie movie thing, you know, that's a little bit of what people should really think, you know, like, oh, that would be so cool to just be out on my own and survive, and
right.
know, and I
and
think
have
that
complete freaking freedom.
That gives people kind of that experience, you know, I quote experience.
Absolutely.
But, you know, seeing that on TV is like, oh man, that would be so cool. I would do this. I would do, you know, like people get really into it.
Oh yeah, and that's why
they come up with like these plans of how they would handle that kind of situation.
Right.
But when it comes down to it, if that anything, not even zombie related, but a severe economic collapse or
EMP.
Yeah, something like that.
And there's been studies done of say North Korea was to get a
Have we turned this into a conspiracy theory?
No, but we're just
say
whoever,
we're
whatever
in a
country,
Red Dawn direction here.
Whatever country got an EMP over the center of the United States and blacked out the United States. There's been studies done that said that within a year, like 75 to 80% of the population, don't quote me on that exact number, but it's right in that ballpark, would be dead because, well, if you think about it, people in the middle of the cities, how are they going to fend for themselves? where's that food going to go? Because you get daily trucks coming into those cities feeding all those people. They ain't growing anything.
We don't need
nothing.
farms. We have plenty of grocery stores.
Well, absolutely. I mean, why would you go to a grocery? Why would you go and shoot a deer when you can go to a grocery store and buy ground beef that nobody had to kill?
Right.
The other part of that, like you're saying, and I've heard people say like, well, you could just hunt for your food if something like that happened. Well, there's a finite number of animals out in the wild. Around here, if something like that were to happen around here, everybody I know here hunts. I mean, the deer population would be wiped out in a month.
So if you look at when we first came to this area, South Dakota, Wyoming,
Iowa.
When we first came to the center of the United States, right? There was an enormous population of bison.
Yep.
Right?
There were elk in Iowa.
Yeah, that's a whole different discussion of, where they got killed versus where they migrated to and stayed there. But as far as like even bison goes, there was a ton, and they brought them to the very edge of extinction just from overhunting. But they didn't have cattle like we do now.
Right.
So that was their main source of meat as they were coming through here. There were just so many of them that they didn't care. They were just killing them, bringing them to whatever town or trading post they could, and selling them, eating them, whatever. And they basically brought them to extinction. And if that same kind of scenario would basically repeat itself, because
that, and you get what's the U.S. got 300 and some odd million people. Compared to back then, there was
320 or 325 million.
Compared to back then, there was a few 100,000 at the most when we were, moving westward.
Yeah, and think that few of people could still have that much effect. I was actually watching a Joe Rogan podcast the other day he was talking to Russell Brand, who's a vegan, doesn't even use any animal products.
Man,
in
he's
his
missing
life.
out.
And
cheese.
Right. And he was, they were talking about hunting because Joe Rogan, he likes to hunt elk with bow. He loves to do it. And Russell Brand was talking about, Russell Brand was talking about, he's like, I don't know, maybe I've watched Bambi too many times or something. I just have too much emotional feelings about hurting that animal that I couldn't do it.
Right.
And Joe Rogan made a pretty interesting point about that, how we keep promoting hunting and outdoors and all this stuff to everybody should hunt, everybody should be outdoors and hunt and hunt their own food, but it's not logical for everybody to hunt.
Not in this society, no.
It's not. No, I mean just in total, not even take society out of it and all the other bullcrap out of it. There's not enough animals to sustain the number of people that we have. There's not enough wild animals for everyone to hunt their food with the population that we have.
No, absolutely not. It
just wouldn't work.
Right.
So we keep promoting hunting, and I think that's a good thing, to keep promoting hunting and outdoor activities and things like that. But to hunt for food, it doesn't make sense for everybody to do it.
Right.
It doesn't, because you couldn't sustain the population of animals.
Right.
You'd end up farming elk instead of you'd have.
Did you know how awesome an elk farm would be around here?
Oh yeah.
That would be badass.
Yeah, but it'd just be like having cattle, only it'd be just different animals.
I knew
somebody. You know what I'm saying?
I knew somebody that had a deer farm.
Yeah.
And somebody shot his stud buck, and he said that was enough of that.
Yeah.
But so yeah. Anyways, we kind of got off of the zombie apocalyptic type thing, but we're kind of going in the same direction. But
the zombocalypse.
I think with the zombie thing though, yeah, it does make sense that if some situation like that occurred, 3/4 of the population would be dead in no time, because they wouldn't know how to fend for themselves.
Right. Right.
You know, and I think honestly, time of year would have an effect on that too.
Oh, for sure.
How many people would freeze to death if it happened in the middle of winter? Like the entire state of New York.
Oh yeah, anybody from
all tip
what's
over.
what's that line? The Mason-Dixon line. That's pretty much anything
That's
above
pretty far
that gets
south. We're north of the Mason-Dixon.
right, but but it gets freaking cold up here. Hell, we had negative
we
30.
can make our own fires.
Well, I'm just saying
Somebody
anything
who lives
north
in the
of that
Bronx
gets
has no idea what they are doing.
right. But I'm saying everything north of that gets rather freaking cold.
Yeah.
Yes, obviously.
You ever
when
see
get
the movie
closer
The
to
Day
that,
After
it doesn't-
Tomorrow? They're all going to be huddled in the New York library burning books.
Oh yeah.
we only got 10 years. Before this climate change is going to kill us all.
Yeah,
anyways,
I mean,
guys,
I'm stacking up
you
on ammo and firewood, so.
Well, what you really should do is figure out how to burn those cow farts.
You need to capture it and burn it for warmth. There you go, right there.
So
I will solve AOC. You just listen here. I will solve the problem. We'll just put a
she's
backpack
listening.
on
She's big in
every
this.
cow, and it'll capture their farts, and then we can just burn that methane gas for warmth. And there you go. We can make that methane
Fart
produce,
diapers.
Yeah, but that's
produce
still
electricity, and there we
that's
go. It
still-
solves the problem.
It doesn't because it's still burning something that's gonna end up ruining the atmosphere. You know, it'll still create
No.
greenhouse
Whatever.
gases.
Whatever.
I saw something about at cattle yards how they were gonna They were basically gonna like bubble cattle yards and capture all the methane and burn it to run a generator to power the
The
cow
farm.
barn. Yeah.
Well, hell, if it's whatever, go for it.
So what happens to the guy that has to go into that bubble and do chores? He walks in and is immediately overwhelmed by the toxic methane gas
Yeah.
that's built up. There's 50 dead cows over there.
Right.
There's 20 over here shitting
know.
themselves.
I was
And this guy just walks in and he's like, just basically dies.
Yeah,
I mean-
over lack of oxygen in there.
You need a hazmat suit to go in there.
Oh, God. Oxygen, scuba gear.
Ah, well, that got interesting.
Yeah, where did we start?
Zombie
Zombies.
apocalypse.
We went from zombies to cow farts.
Went from the zombocalypse to cow farts.
I'm not quite sure how that worked, but whatever. We're having fun.
Something
Show us your
Johnson
bag.
something Johnson said earlier reminded me of this. Some of you guys might have saw it in the group. This guy sent
Yes.
a request, a Freedom of Information Act under that,
Oh boy, here we go.
to the ATF for any records documenting the use of a bump fire type stock used during the commission of any crime to date. And they found absolutely no responsive records. They said this is not a denial of information, rather it is to inform you that no records were found. So
this-
we thought that was pretty interesting.
This goes back
given
to the conspiracy theory
Yeah.
talk that I was talking about. How I
Yeah.
said,
and
did this turn into
why this is
conspiracy theory?
why he's bringing this up is because obviously they said in Las Vegas that they were used, because supposedly when they busted into his room, there was bump stocks laying all over the place, and then that's what he was using. But I remember that night extremely well. I was still up when this was happening, and I was watching the raw video that was coming out of there, and I can tell you without a doubt that was 100% not a bump stock. It wasn't, because there was not a single instance where typically when you're trying to get a bump stock to go, it takes a little bit of doing. It's not just you can't pull the freaking trigger. It don't work that way. What you got to do is, so basically you'll pull this hand against your shoulder, and this hand pushes out. And then basically it uses that reciprocating action. that got. Oh boy!
a stroking action? Would that be more accurate?
Sam, you did that very well. You must be
So,
well versed in that
anyways, this
particular.
was a serious
Your muscle
conversation.
memory is just astounding.
You sons of bitches. Yeah, I really walked myself
You
in
do
the
it to
corner with
yourself
that
every
one.
time.
You just went on with it for
But-
so long.
So one thing that I thought was very peculiar about that, I thought the same thing. Heard the audio from it and everything, and I immediately thought that's definitely not a bump stock.
No.
But have you ever seen anybody lay prone and shoot a bump stock off a bipod?
No.
because all the pictures that I saw from the hotel room
Well,
were all like bipoded rifles. It's like there's how would you even? You
The other
can't
thing
shoot
is-
with a finger. you know?
well, actually, and I brought that point up on a gun board a while back, and supposedly it can be done, but it just doesn't seem like that would be the way that how much accuracy he shot, and a bump stock basically takes away all your accuracy. I mean, that's why
Well,
they're
I don't
not.
like the accuracy argument because it was a giant crowd of people.
Yeah,
it's not like he's
100%.
picking out one by one. So.
Right. But I mean, I will just tell you that was not a friggin' bump stock. Listen to those recordings. Go watch the video. That was not a friggin' bump stock. Just wasn't. And the way that, if you also look at the layout of his hotel room, there was 2 windows that he was shooting out of. He was shooting out of one, and then he'd run over to the other, and was shooting out of that one as well. But there's just too many unanswered questions.
And that's still basing it on the fact that people think that he was the one who did it.
Yeah,
I mean,
he was not.
You can get into
there's
all
no
kinds
way.
of other stuff.
Now
The way
we
that-
are getting into the conspiracy
Yeah,
theories.
because there's other theories that
There's a
If
million
you-
theories.
yeah, because if you look at like where it was, there was reports of people checking out holes in fuel tanks at the airport. That's right across from
Mhm.
where the thing was. They think he was trying to shoot down a plane, or it was somebody else.
Well,
and
I've
he was the
also-
scapegoat. They killed the guy, had all the guns in there. He could have been an arms dealer for somebody. You know, like,
I've
there's so many
heard that
theories out
people
there that
think
it could have been.
the gunfire was coming from helicopters. Also, why? I don't.
Because people hear
I don't-
the automatic fire
Yeah.
and the echo and think it's a helicopter blade. I don't know.
Well,
You know,
this is
as sad as that whole situation was. One of the things that got me was that gigantic walking. I can't cuss, can I? Hemorrhoid named Dan Bilzerian. Did you see the video
Oh,
he
right.
put out during that?
Yeah, him trying to take a cop's gun
Yeah.
to help shoot back. It's
What
like,
a freaking idiot.
go
Yeah.
home, let them do their job.
yeah.
I mean,
Who are you failed out of?
Navy
SEAL
SEAL
team.
training.
And
SEAL
there was
training.
actually guys there that did some pretty heroic shit.
Yeah.
That did actually save people and walk into gunfire
Yep.
and
And
Yeah.
and do some pretty awesome stuff.
He just really saw it as a publicity thing. And
Yeah.
So let's-
honestly, maybe in his mind he thought he was actually going to help, but
Maybe, but let's turn this massive negative into a small positive here. And this guy needs to be in the freaking life short-lived free group. Did you see that guy while this was happening in Vegas? And he was hammered drunk, to be fair, but he was he stood up like on top of something and was flipping the
yeah,
gunman off
Yeah.
while this
Yeah.
was going off. And I just imagine waking up the next morning and after he was obviously blindingly drunk, but
wonder if he
waking up
remembers that.
and seeing the news and seeing what happened and be like, huh? And your buddy's
Man,
telling
I got
you,
hammered.
your
last
buddy's
night.
telling you, yeah. So you were standing there flipping this guy off that was trying to freaking shoot you. You know, that's the ultimate blackout.
I think one of the real heroes of that whole ordeal was the guy who stole somebody's
Yep.
truck.
right.
Well, he was a Marine or something, wasn't he? I
Yep,
think.
driving
Yeah.
people to the
I don't
hospital.
know if he was a Marine,
Just
but he was
hauling
definitely
people,
in
like
the
loading
military.
the back of the pickup up, taking them to the hospital, or
And that's
That's
I
a-
think
yeah.
that's
and I think Ford actually gave that lady a new truck.
I think she did.
I
Yeah.
think I heard that
think
too.
they did. Like,
Yeah.
So that was, I think, will go down as, I mean, obviously I remember 1911 or 9/11 like it was 1911. 9/11 like it was yesterday, and that will also go down as one of the events that you remember, you know, hey, where were you at? But I think there were so many stories of heroism coming out of there, and feel good stories and amazing stories, and that was that thing, you know. There's always the media trying to divide us, but I felt that there was, you know, another time in our country's history when we kind of all came, you know, together, and
yeah.
it was a dark day on our country, but you know, there was also some bright side to it for
On
sure.
the topic of heroism, that UNC shooting just recently,
Right.
that was stopped. And the way that was stopped, that was.
Well, he didn't.
I'd have to
he
say
didn't,
that was pretty.
He didn't
heroic.
stop him, but he definitely delayed him so he could be stopped, supposedly. Right? Is that how
I don't honestly. I don't know the whole story to it.
he jumped
where I
on him
heard
and
it
he was
like
shot?
he like tackled the guy down, and then the police were able to get to him. But
Well, good on him.
Yeah,
God
and-
bless that guy. He's
They
definitely
had
definitely
a
saved some life.
pretty giant parade for him, funeral procession, if you want to call it that.
And they actually he was an ROTC cadet, and there was like kind of a big to do. They were going to give him
They,
full military honors burial,
they buried him
which-
with full military honors.
which and this is like that's an odd thing to do for someone that's never been through basic boot camp, anything like that. And there was a lot of people that don't agree with it. I personally kind of actually don't either, but there's no doubt the guy was a hero. But it was I'm just reading. It was mainly on one of the veteran Facebook pages we follow. They had a discussion about it, and
What was the general consensus on there?
he should not have been buried with full military honors. But
Well, I guess I'm not in the military, so I can't really say
I can
one
see
way or the
how
other,
that
but
could
it
be
doesn't.
disrespectful.
that's what a lot of
to the
people said. But
military.
and at the same time, one guy had a very good comment. He's like, you know what, this kid was an ROTC candidate. He was aspiring to be an officer in the military, and he sacrificed his life to stop
Save
this guy.
others,
Well,
yeah.
So, and that kind of flip-flopped my opinion a little bit on the whole matter. And in the end, a young man's dead. He died in a very brave way, and
he gave his
Man,
life
guy
to save
him,
others.
yeah,
so, I
gave him a
mean,
good send-off. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I don't have opinion on that either way, but
We can switch this to positive again.
Yeah, I
You
think,
know,
So box won today,
But-
guys. Did you know that? Did you know box won the shooting
it's not
competition
a
today?
surprise at all.
I want a big cheers for. We just had a wonderful anniversary here 4 days ago.
what's that?
One thing that got the royal wedding off the TV. And you know what that was?
What are you talking about, boy?
I wasn't real big on the royal wedding.
I
Yeah.
wasn't either, and I hated that it was on TV. And there was something that dropped it off the TV for one night, and I was so excited.
What's that?
There was actually, I was down in Ames. I was in college, and there was parades through the streets in Ames this night, and it was at like 11 p.m. Osama bin Laden was
Oh, right.
Yeah,
shot
absolutely.
in the damn
Shot in the face several times.
Did you guys see Kid Rock's had Rob O'Neill up on the stage? They did
Uh-uh.
the whole thing. Yeah, it's on. You have to look it up. So it's on YouTube. But yeah, he entered, and then Rob O'Neill tells this story about how he just walked up and just rocked Osama bin Laden's face with a machine gun.
Yeah,
I mean-
that is awesome.
No, I remember where I
So I
was
want
when
to
I.
cheers. I want to cheers for an anniversary of Osama bin Laden being dead
Cheers.
for one more year.
That's right.
No, he'll be dead the rest of his life, which is gone. So he's gonna be dead forever, Johnson. Not just one more year.
I understand that, but
He's absolutely
I can
I'll cheers again in a year,
I
but
tell you what, that cheers was more for the anniversary of him getting shot in the face than him being dead one more year.
yeah, there you go. That's better.
So,
You don't know, but that could come back to the zombie apocalypse. Then what if Osama
Oh,
bin
boy.
Laden is one of the zombies?
They
Well, he's
dropped
gonna-
his
I hope
body
I hope he
in an
swims
ocean
well because yeah.
after shooting him in the face with a machine gun.
Hey,
How do you kill a zombie?
you shoot him in the head.
He was
Or
shot in
the
the head
face.
multiple times.
Well, if you're already shot
Box
in
the
the head,
face is part of the
If
head.
you're already shot in the head, do you come
So-
back as a
that's what
zombie?
I was getting at.
I don't know.
No, it's called that's Mercy. Z Nation. Anybody else watch? Z
Box, if
Nation?
you ever turned into a zombie, I would totally shoot you in the
Oh,
head.
thank you.
You're
That
welcome,
means a
buddy.
lot.
Anytime.
So, anyways, we're gonna get off this.
Sam, how do you think you have a bag? I think how would that bag perform in this zombie
Zombie
apocalypse?
just absolutely wonderful, and I've been. This is a company that I've done a little bit of work with. I know the owner. So I messaged him. I texted him the other day, and I was asking about a new range bag. Typically, this is not my range bag setup. I like a duffel bag type style, but he recommended this bag. So yeah, obviously it's just a backpack. But I was rather impressed with the
Inquest.
Sam can't do words.
with the quality. But like I said, this is Ark Defense. Go check them out on Facebook. But yeah, so it's super impressed. I mean, it's good material. The zippers work well. And they offer a lot of other things. And actually, I got a free rail on my AR that I've been using.
Float.
You're having a hard time today.
It's been a hell of a
Long
weekend,
day, guys.
You can't enunciate to save your life.
Free float. So yeah.
So are there any interior compartments in that bag?
So you
I'm
got
big on interior
yeah,
compartments.
you got the main one here. You got the main one here, and then you got a spot for. It didn't fit in my laptop, but it might a smaller laptop or a tablet. I believe that's what that's for. So I keep my ammo in this main compartment, all my mags and all these goodies in here. There's another slip in that one. You got this main one with some inside of it, and then the main flap. It's also got several compartments on it. But anyway, so I've been rather impressed with this. It's been holding. I've only been using it for a month or two, but it's been holding up well. I'm really digging it. But like I said, the other stuff that I've used with these guys, the rail, I'm really impressed with that. It's a pretty simple rail, but it feels nice. It just works really good. It's quality made, I believe. Most of his stuff is well, I guess I can't say that. I'm not for sure on that, but anyway, so go check them out. So yeah, that's all I really got on Ark Defense. So the next subject that we wanted to talk about was Box was telling me about a little issue with customer service that he was having the other day.
Yeah, so I ordered some batteries for my camera here that you're watching us on. And factory batteries are kind of expensive for these. They're $50 a piece, and I eventually had to spring the $50 for that. But I wanted a couple of batteries in a quick manner, and I found some. I found a 2-pack for about $40 on this website. So I went ahead and ordered them. I got them, threw them on my camera. I used them a little bit, and I was like, all right, this is great. They came charged, so I didn't have to. They worked with my camera and everything. Didn't have to worry about it. One finally died, so I threw it in my my charger, and it didn't charge. So I tried the other one, and that one also didn't charge. So I contacted these guys and asked them, like, hey, on their website I saw that it said we need original packaging to be able to accept any returns. So I contacted them, like, hey, I don't have the original packaging. It just came in a little envelope thing, so why would I keep that? Can I still return this? And they said, well, let me check that out for you. And he was like, I can't. Boy, really struggling here. But he told me, yeah, we're gonna check that out for you. I'm like, okay, this is great. Why can I not remember the rest of this goddamn story?
So he told you, he sent you a link.
Yeah.
I sent you a link. I think
Yeah.
what I remember.
Well,
saying,
Boy,
okay,
and
here we go.
I'm pretty
Sorry.
sure Box was just making fun of me a little bit ago for
Yeah.
this. So.
I'm just stupid. At least I can talk.
I'm an idiot, but I know my words.
So I asked him if I could return those, and he said, no need to return it since it's a defective product. Just go ahead and throw it in the trash. And I was thinking, okay, that's great. So I asked him, do I get a refund or a replacement? He's like, oh, absolutely. You can get a replacement right now. So he sends me a link to the product that I had just bought and walked me through the checkout process. And I'm
So he was
there,
making you pay for
yes,
for another
exactly. I'm sitting there thinking, no, surely, and this isn't what I think
Yeah,
it is.
okay.
There's got to be
You're
a
gonna give
coupon
me
code.
A coupon code. Yeah.
Something's got to be going on here. So I asked him, I'm like, wait, you're recommending that I buy another pair of these batteries that you just sent me that were defective, and you're not going to refund or replace them? He's like, that's correct, sir. So I just throw these brand new batteries away, and I buy a couple more. Are they disposable batteries? What's going on here?
Yes, our product is so shitty that you buy one and then you got to buy some more because they don't work.
Throw it away.
And I asked him, I'm like, are you serious? Is this how you're gonna do this? And he was like, well, yeah, they're defective, sir. I was like, yeah, I
Yes.
know. That's why I'm contacting you. They were broken.
That just reminds me of Ron Swanson on Parks and Rec. when they go into that vegan grocery store, and he's like, the vegan bacon is 100% meatless, and he's like, I would like to try some. Throws it in the
trash.
garbage. Some more, please. Throws it in the garbage. I'm just making sure that no one ever has to eat this.
Like Brett, like I think the best Ron Swanson one was like when they're in that restaurant and he's looking at the menu and he's just like looking at it, and just shuts it, hands it to the waiter, and he's like, just give me all the eggs and bacon you have.
Yeah.
And the waiter turns to leave and he grabs him by the arm. He's like,
Wait.
All.
I fear
Son.
you've misunderstood me. I
Yeah.
want all the eggs and
I
bacon
believe
you
what
have.
you heard is I want a lot of bacon and eggs. What I said was I want all the bacon and eggs you have. Do you understand?
I like the one he's walking through the hardware store. Excuse me, sir, can I help you? I know more than you do.
That's a good one too. Yeah. But yeah, customer service can be some of the most frustrating
Especially when you're buying
experiences.
over the internet. You know, you haven't seen it in hand.
Well, and the worst
You know,
part is when you
Facebook
get
customer
one of those,
service, I'm looking at you.
one of those crappy, like, you know what, I'm going to save a few bucks. I'm going to be a tightwad here and,
Like me.
you know, save a couple of bucks. Like batteries, you know, like that's one thing that you're like, well, you know, all the crap you get from overseas, it's just about as
These were
good as
definitely
the-
from overseas.
Yeah, they were definitely made of Chinesium.
Who was it? Was the
Pretty
was,
sure it was India.
was the customer service guy from India too, or was he?
He talked like he did. I think so. I'm not 100% on that, but
I like the guys you call in and be like, they tell you their name. Their name. They tell you their name is
Chuck.
Buddy.
their
My
name.
name is John.
Yeah, their name is Billy Joe, but they got a freaking
Yeah.
East Indian accent.
Hello,
or
is
something.
this Seth Young?
Where are you at,
Yeah.
Joe?
My name is
And
John.
they'll tell you.
you-
I've literally asked them before, and they'll say, "Well, Tennessee. Well, we're at in Tennessee. Tennessee.
New Delhi?
Oh, cleared that right up. Thanks for
Is
that,
there a
bud.
New Delhi, Tennessee, by chance?
New Delhi, Tennessee. I actually had a that I'm sure you guys have got this. The scam to I'm good for now.
I'm good, all right.
The scam to your car warranty.
Oh,
False.
man.
My car doesn't have a warranty.
Right.
They call me,
But it
all
can.
the freaking time. So finally, I just got pissed off. So I started talking to these guys, you know, and playing along with them and telling them what my car was. I had a 2013 Suburban or some shit. And I just talked to him for about 10 minutes and just let him on and on and on. And finally, I got to the point where I couldn't lead him on anymore. So I just kind of went off on him and says, no, I don't have a freaking car. I'm just tired of you guys calling me. Leave me alone. You know, I'm just going to waste your time every time you call. But the best one was the credit card scam. They call and ask, oh yeah, we're gonna put your credit card interest rate at 0%. So I says, okay, which credit card? Well, what do you have? I says, don't you know what I have? Being you're calling me and saying you could lower the rate. Well, we deal with all the major ones. I says, okay, I got a, I don't even remember what I said. American Express. Okay, sir. And I says, and I was kind of toying with him a little bit. So he says, I said, so you're going to ask me for my numbers, right? Well, no, we certainly would never do that. Okay. So we went on, and he's asking me all my information, and he's going to lower my credit card rate. And pretty soon he says, so what's your credit card number? And and he says, I said to him, well, you just said you weren't going to ask for my credit card number. Well, yeah, but we kind of need it. So I just read him I just made up 16 fake numbers. And then
You probably gave him some poor schmuck's actual credit card number.
I might have.
Like somebody had their identity stolen and it's your fault.
But so I made up these 16 numbers, and then he asked me to repeat it, and at that point I knew I was screwed because I didn't pay any attention to, you know, the numbers that I read off on him. So I just kind of went off on him, and it says, you know, I hope you die a terrible disease, a terrible disease, and just, well, sir, and I says, no, you know, but anyway, those people are the lowest of the freaking low.
Yeah.
When they just,
I have a guy at work that every time somebody calls with one of those scams, and he will ask who he's speaking with, and then he'll say, this is the such and such department of crime scene investigation, you know, this person was involved in a murder and we need to know who you're you know, who you are and why you're trying to speak with this person, and he'll have them on the phone for like an hour. And just like...
That's a really good idea. I didn't think about that.
Yeah,
That's
get
an
them to
amazing
think that
idea.
They're like, oh crap, I've called somebody that's committed a murder or is now dead, you know, was murdered, and he gets them all freaked out. But I always get the your car's factory warranty is about to expire thing. I get that one a lot, and I usually tell them that I drive like a 1929 Hudson Hornet or something, you know, like...
Were those made in...
I give them some random...
Right,
You know,
right.
okay, so you...
1930s car that, you know, oh, my factory warranty, oh no.
The crime scene thing just kind of jogged my memory. I know I called you after I received this phone call, Sam. A little lead-in story. In 2012, I was doing some work up in Esterville, Iowa. And if most of you
I
that
love
listen
how
to
that
this
immediately
have probably been to Esterville.
Oh, yeah.
It is not a very high crime town or anything like that. But I was staying at a hotel there doing some work on a church, and I pulled into the parking lot one night after work, and I went up to my room and I realized I'd forgotten my my logbook. So I went back down, and this minivan pulls in, and these two guys get out of I'm not going to go into race or anything like that, but one of them had a rat tail, and the other one was very large. And the one just starts dumping rounds out of a handgun in the parking lot of this hotel in Esterville, Iowa. And I froze. I'm like, crap! Like,
bleep.
So, bleep.
Catch toad.
Yeah, caught myself. I run into the hotel, and the little gal man in the front desk was on the phone, and I go, someone's shooting up your parking lot. Hang up the phone and call 911. And she looked at me like I was the dumbest person on the face of the earth. Like, it's Esterville. Like, come on, nobody's shooting up a parking lot. And I was like, give me a pad and a paper. So she gave me a pad and a pen, and I ran outside, and the minivan is leaving, and I got the license plate number, and I called 911. And the welding shop across the street, the guy comes out. Two kids that had been by the Hardys, they come over. A bullet hit was right between them, and so I went over and I found all the little 9mm shell casings, and then I look up, and here comes that damn van with those two same guys in it, and I'm like, oh shit, and crap.
Back for you.
And no, they stopped in the middle of the road. I'm on the phone with a detective at this point. They've transferred me, and I was like, they're right there. I can see them, and. So they
with that kind of voice.
I don't know, dude. You know how high, I was jacked. I couldn't sleep that night. Anyway, so they pulled the van over. Long story short, and I had to go ID the guy, like a detective in a GMC Sonoma pickup, a green 5-speed, picked me up. He was off duty working construction.
Sounds like the DNR actually.
And so he picked me up, drive by. I was like, yeah, that's a guy. Like 10:30 at night, rolls around. Phone rings, and it's this detective. I had to go down and do the one-way mirror thing. So back to where we originally started with your forensic deal. Last year, I received a phone call from a number I didn't know, and I'm like, whatever, and I answer it. And for type A gun people like us, this is the last person you want to ever get a phone call from. I'm not going to say his name, but I answered. I was like, hello? And he's like, is this Mr. Seth Young? And I'm like, yeah. This is Agent Beep with the ATF. And I'm like, oh,
Never
crap.
I didn't do it. I didn't do it.
Oh no.
Well, what ended up happening was that guy he never shot anybody. He was just, I think it was a gun buy, and he was testing the gun like a friggin' moron.
You just test a gun in the middle of a parking lot?
Yeah. And
You mean that's the story that he
So-
told the ATF?
Right.
ended up, this guy was part of a much larger crime deal.
Yeah.
And
No.
I don't know if you've ever heard of a RICO investigation.
Sons of Anarchy.
He told me I was
So Sam gets all this information.
he had told me I might get called up to go testify in court in Kansas City, and I'm like, why the hell did I ever call 911? Like, nothing, I haven't heard from him since, nothing ever came of it, but I was like, just my phone rang, and I literally thought it was like one of my friends jacking with me, like, and then I Googled him, and I was like, oh shit, this is for real. Like, I'm on the phone with him, and I Google it, and I'm like, oh, what did I do? Like, all my guns are legal, right? But it was like, yeah, this is so-and-so at the ATF, and I'm like, oh, Shit.
That is not one phone call you really
No,
want to hear.
no. So, anyways, guys, we're at about an hour and 10 minutes. So, I think we're gonna have to call this one. But it's been fun. It's been kind of a little bit of a shit show, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
We got off topic.
We're
a
not
lot.
exactly organized people.
But
No.
I feel like that's going to be a common theme. we
Yeah,
find throughout
if you
this
guys are
whole
listening to
ordeal.
us, just get used to it.
I mean, I think what
Just the way
we
it's gonna
found
be.
out in this podcast is that Jesse won, Sam can enunciate,
Right.
and
Sam,
we
I
can
don't
get off
talk
topic
good.
on everything.
Yeah.
And Box can't remember his own stories.
It's true.
I just pulled the same thing with the whole car scam, but anyways. So yeah, but we'll keep making these. If you guys keep watching them, we'll just keep making them, even if you don't watch them. So, but we appreciate it if you stayed this long. And like we said last time, a couple weeks ago, that we're just gonna keep making these about every 2 weeks, hopefully. This was a good time. I had fun with you guys today.
Check out Ballistic Imagery on
Absolutely.
Instagram and YouTube. He's going to have some. He's got some really cool pictures.
You'll
He does
see
a
me
lot of-
kicking these guys' asses on that channel.
Actually,
over
what you'll see a lot of is Johnson inappropriately grabbing Box.
There's
And
some of that
Sam.
there.
He's mildly
There's
obsessed with Sam's nipples.
There's certain things we need to keep to ourselves, fellas.
But
yeah.
check him out on Instagram and YouTube. He does some really cool photography, a lot of
Absolutely.
firearms-based photography and stuff. He's going to be doing some range day videos and stuff from art competitions. He'll be doing some videography there and making pretty cool videos out of it. So
Yep.
That's
Also,
right.
check out the Life Short Live Free Instagram. Johnson just started.
Yep, got
Um,
Instagram going.
And if you want a good group to join, the Life Short Live Free group on Facebook. Also, check out Shyworks, our page on Facebook. We post
Maybe,
some pretty
maybe you want
cool
to throw
gun stuff.
Ark Defense in there
Yep,
also.
absolutely. And the Ark Defense bag we were talking about. Check out Ark Defense on Facebook. They got a nice little page going on there. Some pretty awesome stuff if you're into the shooting. They got all sorts of stuff, so go check out their website as well. But anyways, we will be back in a couple weeks. We appreciate you guys watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel. And if you got any topics you want us to talk about, make sure to let us know in the comments. And until we talk to you next time, remember, life's short, live free. God bless. Boy, hour and 13 minutes.
That was an exceptionally long one.
That was a shit show, and I poured way too much whiskey.
And